thoughts. We can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. We can think about our problems and turn on those chemicals. That means then our thoughts could make us sick. So if it's possible that our thoughts could make us sick, is it possible that our thoughts could make us well? The answer is absolutely yes.
Let's go. Let's go. Good morning, family. Rise and shine. Another blessed and grateful day. Super excited, fired up to go ahead and be on here. We've got a phenomenal topic getting into today. We're going to be talking about the 7 functions of the mind. Neno went over today the 4 dysfunctions. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get on the other side, and I'm going to talk about the 7 functions of the mind, how we can go ahead and dive in and absolutely take advantage of this. So let's go ahead and drop a little bit of gratitude down below. What is everybody grateful for coming into this phenomenal Tuesday? It's a big week this week, fam. We've got Break the Code over in Miami. Alex Morton is launching his first event. So I'm excited, fired up. Let's get a little bit of gratitude down below.
You block the stream that's flowing to you. You block the good ideas. Your inner being knows where you stand in relationship to everything you desire. And it's constantly streaming awareness of how to get there. But if you're all balled up in what's wrong, you're not getting any of those messages. But it doesn't stop the messages. That's the thing that we most want you to understand. Your inner being is flowing to you at all times. The question is, are you in the receiving mode or not?
And we find that we want things to come into our life, but we don't create room for them. Nature abhors a vacuum. What have you got in your life that you don't want or that you don't like? What is it that you've got that you really want to get rid of? You've got to get rid of this stuff. Get rid of it. Give it away. See, nature truly does abhor a vacuum. When you make space for the good that you desire, that's when the good's going to come. Most people don't make the space for the good that they desire.
Woo! How to get a little something coming in for the morning. A little Bobby, a little Hicks. Yes, absolutely. I'm grateful for God. Grateful to be alive. So grateful for the mentorship, for the access that we have with the platform, with our mentors, with everybody that is surrounded right now inside of our circle. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go ahead and dive into today. We've been getting really, Neno got serious about getting really deep into the work, right? Talking about how most people, what is the difference between, the few that see success and many that are just sitting on the sidelines, right? The 5%, the 95%. He went over a big piece of this morning. The 4 dysfunctions of the mind, really taking time to dig into the deep work. And that's why I'm so proud of everybody here, because this is what we've been doing, right? I don't know about you guys, but I'm on, let me show you. Let's talk about the deep work, right? Look at this. Day 171, right, of doing the deep work, really tapping in, really actually figuring out what is going on internally. Because it's one thing to show up for a Zoom, it's one thing to show up for anybody else in your family, but it's a whole different level to really start asking those questions to yourself. What am I really lying to myself about? And what a cool exercise, right? Think about that. If you were to go to a park and you were to grab 7 big rocks to go ahead and give an example of all of the weight that we're carrying in our life. Now think about that. If you were to put 7 big rocks, put them in a book bag, and the assignment was to walk around for 20 minutes. I tell you guys all the time, there's so many things that a lot of us are holding on to that's causing weights, right? If you think about an air balloon, there's no way we're going to ever be able to get off the ground if we don't ever cut off the weight that doesn't need to be there. And that's exactly what deep work is. But here's the deal. It's not easy. It's not easy to get up every day and write 10 things you're grateful for. It's not easy every day to get in your journal and really put your emotions, really get your vision down on paper. If it was easy, everybody would do it. How to look at things in a different level and see. It says connections unstable. Drop a 2 down below if everybody can hear me. Day 210. Let's go. Shane and Talina absolutely on fire. I love it. What day is everybody on as far as your challenge? Drop it down below. Let me go ahead and get live on IG so they can catch this. This is going to be a good one. I don't want anybody to miss this training. So 7 functions of the mind. Here we go. Let's go. All right. So here we go, fam. The 7 functions of the mind. Nana went over the 4 dysfunctions. I'm going to be touching on the 4 functions today. So let's go ahead and get into it, right? I told you I got a fire book. Got a lot of sauce coming from this bad boy right here. So let me go ahead and get into it for today. All right. The first function of our mind, right, is going to be really understanding. And I'm telling you, fam, you guys are really going to love this because it's going to put a lot of things into perspective. Okay. So here we go. The first function is going to be choice. So inside of this Stoic, right, book that I just got, here's what Epictetus talks about inside the first paragraph. He says the proper work of the mind is the exercise of these seven functions. You ready? Choice, refusal, yearning, repulsion, preparation, purpose, and assent. What then can pollute and clog the mind with proper functioning? Nothing but its own corrupt decisions, right? So let's go ahead and go through these 7, right? This is so important to understand. What then can pollute and clog the person's mind? Nothing but its own corrupt decisions when you don't understand these at a deeper level. So let's get into it. Ready? Number 1. The first of these tasks is going to be choice. We all have a choice every day, obviously, to be able to think and do right. So this is why they say our choices end up dictating our destiny. So along this day, just like every other day, we all have choices. And here's the difference, right? The choice is either going to be feeding into our destiny, feeding into our dream, or guess what? It actually does the opposite. It's going to either pull or it's going to push every time, right? Whether we decide to go ahead and drink some alkaline water today, or whether we start the day with some sugary juice, right? Orange juice. This is a choice, and you might not notice it, but over time, this compounds. The little choice not to hit the gym. You're not going to notice it today, but in 30 days, yeah, you're going to see it. You're going to notice it. So here's what I started to understand. Choices is everything, but we always have 2 minds whenever we decide to make a choice, right? I'll never forget it. This is one of my monk books that I took this out of. We have a monk mind and we have a monkey mind. The monkey mind is always going to choose the easier option. It's always going to want to go for whatever gives us more comfort. Do you want to hit the gym today? If you ask yourself, your monkey mind is going to tell you, nah, we can just sit and hang out. I went a couple of days last week. I'm good today. That's your monkey mind. Your monk mind says, no, my body's too important. There's no way I'm not going to hit the gym. In fact, I'm not going to feel right if I go to sleep today and I didn't exercise. I didn't move my body, because I know that motion causes emotion, right? So it takes us being able to move. This is big. So the choice, this is big. If you can tap into your monk voice instead of the monkey voice all day long, watch the difference, because you have the voice every time that we do anything, whether you're going to go eat, get on a Go Live session, call your mentor, put your face on a video camera on a Zoom and actually ask a question. You always have a choice to listen to one or the other, but you get to decide which one you want to actually tap into, okay? So the first function of mind is going to be choice. Number 2, refusal, right? Refusal of temptation. We're human, right? None of us are robots. We all face temptation. So I don't expect you not to have temptations. But what I do suggest, even though something that obviously we're all working on, is to be able to learn how to refuse, right? Something I'm working on as well. How to refuse temptation, right? Saying no to certain things, saying no to individuals that I don't need to spend time with, saying no to listening to music, saying no to being able to go and eat a whole bunch of sugary food today. Refusal to temptation. Everybody's temptations in life are different, right? I like to call it vices. Everybody walking, yes, they have a vice. Could be smoking, could be drinking, could be partying, could be whatever it is. Everybody has a different vice. But when you can figure out what that is, what's really distracting you, this is when you start to really see the transformation, okay? So that's number 2 is refusal. Number 3 is going to be yearning. Third function of the mind, yearning to be able to do better, right? You know, I adopted something years ago that honestly I believe if you guys can take it, this will change everything for you. And here's what I did. I told myself that I'm not going to feel okay. I'm going to feel awkward. I'm going to feel weird if I don't get new notes, if I don't get new knowledge every single day. Every day. If I'm not learning every day, I feel like I did something wrong. Because here's the truth, family. Just like a tree, if it's not growing, what does that mean? It's dying. Just like us, we're the same way. So in 2022, here's what I know, just like Neno talked about today. Whatever we did last year, guess what? We're going to have to get new knowledge. We're going to have to do things a little bit different to get different results. Waddle says it's not about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way. So here's the deal. Here's what's funny about that. We could have been journaling this whole time. We could have been getting on Zooms. We could have been showing up. But if we're not intentional with any of that work, if we're just there to be there and we're not there to actually really be 100% focused, take something from the call and go out and apply it when we get off, none of it means anything. None of it, all of it is useless because there wasn't a deep desire. You weren't truly yearning to actually grow from these skill sets. And I love how Neto even broke it down today. Let's look at where we're at right now. Let's look at it. Are we comfortable with everything that's going on, with our relationship with our Creator, with our finances, with our spiritual side, with our mindset? How are we handling emotions when things don't go right? All of this is going to take us getting to a deeper level to ourselves, to know ourselves that much better, to be able to master our emotions, to master our life. This is big, right? But it comes from yearning to get better, yearning to go ahead and strive to be 1/10 or 1% better every day. That's all it takes. Little steps. I don't need if you've skipped the gym the past week, I don't need you to go for 5 hours today. Go for 30 minutes. Just start small. So at the end of the day, that's what all of this entrepreneurship journey is about. Whether it was public speaking, whether it was learning how to trade, whether it was building my business, even now with e-commerce, I'm yearning to get better. That's why I'm seeing success. I'm still a student. I'm still asking questions. I'm still getting on all the Go Live sessions because I have a deep desire to learn, to change my life for this year, to 10x whatever we did in the past decade. I believe we can do that in 1 year this year. And I believe the same for you. So my goal for everybody is when you adopt all 70 of these, this is where you're going to start getting a lot more clarity. Okay. Number 4, repulsion. Repulsion of negativity, of bad influences, of what isn't true, right? So even for the training that Neno did, where you had to find these 7 rocks, you had to go and walk 20 minutes with it. What are some lies? Let's stop on that point real quick. What are some lies that we've been telling ourselves that's not true? This comes from limited beliefs. This comes from negative self-talk, right? What are the lies that we've all been saying? I don't have the value. I don't know if I'm going to be able to learn these skill sets. I don't know if I actually make a difference when I speak. For everybody, it could be different. But here's what I do know, right? When you understand your power, when you realize that what's been inside all along, when we truly internalize that we are 1 out of 400 trillion that are born, that's the truth. We beat 400 trillion other little swimmers to go ahead and actually be here, right now. So when you look at the odds of being a millionaire, when you look at the odds of being a professional, when you look at the odds of getting struck by lightning, you know what's crazy? Being born is a trillion times more powerful than all of that combined. So you talk about beating the odds, that's literally what we're doing, sitting right here. So if you don't believe you can see massive success in your life, we already hit the lottery, family. We're living, we're breathing. You know, most of us live in America. This is one of the biggest places of opportunity. And if you talk to somebody that lives outside of the States, they'll be able to tell you how much of a privilege it is to actually live here and be here. Because I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever seen somebody that's an 18-year-old outside of the States, you put them with an 18-year-old here, it's 2 different people. It's 2 different levels of discernment, 2 different levels of action, 2 different levels of etiquette, right? Because they're brought up different over there. They look at opportunity completely different. So when they come to America, they say, I can go ahead and create a lifestyle. I can go ahead and actually become something more than I was back home. So what are the lies that we've been telling ourselves? What's the negativity that we've been possibly, having in our circle that we don't need anymore? Is it music that we listen to subconsciously? Is it people that we're spending time with that we don't need to be around anymore? Right? Pareto's principle, 20-80. 20% of our time spent is going to lead to 80% of our results. So maybe some of that 20% is filled with a lot of negativity right now. And it's overflowing into the 80%. So these are all things I'm digesting for myself to really go ahead and do a self-evaluation to figure out what exactly is in that 20% that I don't need, that I can go ahead and take out the trash so I can open up space for the new, right? Okay. So where are we at? Number 5. Yep. Number 5, preparation. For what lies, here's what Epictetus says. For what lies ahead or whatever may happen, right? I talked about a couple of days on the call. The interesting, just like Jay Shetty says, life is interesting because a lot of the times it doesn't pan out the way that we envision it, right? When we have a dream, when we're writing down all these goals and dreams to become a chairman, to be a six-figure trader, whatever it may be, most of the time, it doesn't pan out exactly how we planned it. Why? That's life. Life happens. There's always going to be curveballs. There's always going to be twists and turns that happen along the road. And the difference is who is able to adapt when something happens, right? You can have your blueprint. We can have it all scheduled straight out on paper. But when something happens, how do we adapt? Just like building a house. We can have the blueprint ready, but if it takes a little bit longer to do the tile, now the painting is going to be pushed back. Now that's going to push back doing certain other things. So now we have to adapt. Now we have to learn how to shift. The same thing happens with business. The same thing happens with life, right? Over the holidays, boom, right before Christmas, had a family member that she drinking, fell, cracked her tibia, cracked her kneecap, had to literally pick her up, rushed her to the emergency room, had to get emergency surgery the next day. Now I've got it. Now I get to, right? I get to be able to be the one to help her relearn how to walk again for the next 6 months. She's got a metal rod down her whole leg, right? Give you another example. My grandfather had a stroke about 2 years ago. Didn't have a lot of the money. Needed money to be able to help pay for it. So all of these different areas, if somebody wasn't prepared, what would have happened? Because it's not a matter of family of if life is going to hit. It's just a matter of when. Like, I want you to think about your grandparents right now, okay? I don't know how old your grandparents are, but let's think about this for a second. As they get a little bit older, where are they going to be staying? Some grandparents, they end up having to go to a nursing home. I don't know if you know how much that costs. That's like a $6,000 bill monthly, right? How about health? How about health issues? Let's talk about this, right? This is real preparation, things I'm going through right now, right? Family member has cancer. Got a lot of bills that's going to have to be paid coming into that. I said, I don't care what it costs. Swipe the card. Let's go ahead and make it happen. Let's do it. I don't care what it costs. Do what we got to do. Just do it. This is the real preparation of life. This is the truth. So if we haven't been taking things seriously, if we've just been letting days fly by and just saying, you know what, I'll get to that tomorrow. I'll call them tomorrow. I'll plug in tomorrow. I'll take notes tomorrow. Well, family, here's what most people don't understand. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. There's no promise that you're going to be able to wake up tomorrow and be able to do that. And when you really understand that, family, I just spent the past, literally, I promise you, since December 21st, I've been in the hospital almost every day. Almost every day. How many days is that? Today's the 15th? That's about 3 weeks. I've spent every day in a hospital for at least 30 minutes of time. And you know what I see every time? Somebody that's laying in bed that would die, that would wish to be healthy, that would wish to be in a better scenario, that would wish they took a little bit better care of their time, of their health, of their decisions. Time is something we can never get back. So if we can prepare now, this is why I got so serious about entrepreneurship, because I saw how most people live. How many people do we know that work a 40-40-40? That work 40 hours a week, that are going to do that for 40 years, that make $40,000 a year. Feel me? To me, that's not living. To be able to go to work, pay bills, to sleep, and do that that's just existing. That's not living. So I understood, if I don't prepare my dreams, if I don't prepare my life, somebody else is going to prepare my life for me. And here's the truth. It's probably not going to look very abundant. It's probably not going to look very joyful. So when you understand that, you get a little bit different of a sense of urgency. You start to realize that at the end of the day, no one's going to take care of me but me. So let's get prepared. Let's get ready to go ahead and take advantage of 2023. Let's really plug in. Let's really get intentional. Let's really take time to do the deep work that most people aren't willing to do. Because if you're willing to do what most people are not willing to do today, family, most people, let's just be real. They're not willing to do 170 days of deep work. They're not willing to do 60 days of deep work. They're not willing to do 70 days of deep work like you guys are plugging in. This is the difference. Ordinary, extraordinary is just that little extra. So I got two more for you. Ready? Purpose. The sixth function of the mind that we can benefit from is going to be purpose. Purpose is how Epictetus states it here. He says, it's our guiding principle and it's our highest priority. How cool is that? It's our guiding principle. It's our highest priority. So what does that mean? Sean Murphy even talks about it too. When you start developing your purpose, when you know exactly DMP, your definite major purpose, life starts to shift. Your time starts to shift. Your conversation, your confidence, your self-talk, right? All of this starts to shift because now you've written the last chapter first. This is one of the greatest things I've ever done. Write the last chapter of your book first so you know how to go ahead and take the steps moving forward. Because if you know what your purpose is, if you know you're here to leave an impact, you know you're here to leave a positive dent, the time that we spend on meaningless things are no longer giving value to our purpose. Because when you get clear, a lot of the fat tends to get cut off. A lot of the fat tends to start getting melted away. Just like the famous statue, right? Being able to chip away. Angelo says, "I chip away at everything that isn't me." That's what we're doing. When you start stepping into our purpose, we start chipping away at all of the little things that aren't us. People said we're not good enough. People said we're not going to be able to speak. We're not going to be able to be a success. No one in our family has ever seen real wealth. We're chipping away at that. Why? Because that's not really us. What's inside is pure. What's inside doesn't need to be known by anybody else but who? You. As long as you know it, that's all that matters. And when you put it out, your energy is going to ripple. So the last but not least, right? We talk about purpose. That's why on my license, every single post that you see from me says impact 1 billion. People ask me, D, how are you still going 5 years later? Do you know how much I've gone through and grown through over these past 5 years? How many times I've asked myself, like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep pushing through. There's only one word that kept it going: purpose. It's bigger than just myself. I would have quit a long time ago if it was just for me. But my purpose is bigger than just me. You might not do things for yourself, but I promise you will do things for those that you love. If you're serious, if you have a real desire. So the last but not least is going to be ascent, right? This is an interesting word, but pay attention, all right, as we wrap this up. Ascent is to be free of deception about what's inside and outside of our control and be ready to accept the latter, right? So earlier we talked about the circle of control that we have. What's the one thing that we have control out of everything in life? What's the one thing? There's only one. The one thing that we have control of is the mind. It's the one thing. I can't control what happens with politics, can't control the president, can't control what happens with social media, can't control other people's decisions, but we can control our mind. That's the one thing that we do have access to. So as we end this, think about this, right? To be free of deception about what's inside and outside our control. So all of the things that we are worrying about, all the things that we're stressed about, at the end of the day, most of those, they probably don't matter. You know, we talked about a QLQ this morning. Nikki, drop down your QLQ. She said a QLQ this morning, and Sean's like, I want you to trim that. You don't need that many words on it. Trim that off and make it a lot more simpler. She said, QLQ, who do I become when I'm the light and I can just be? He said, that's too long. You don't need it that long. Cut it in half. He says, who do I become when I can just be? Just gives me a sense of clarity just hearing that, just feeling that. It's so simple, family. Life is so simple. Success, wealth is so simple, but we make it so complicated. What's the secret? Feeling. The secret is the feeling, right? How do we get in the feeling? Gratitude. That's it. It all comes right back to one word: gratitude. Believe it or not, every one of us on this call, we have access to be able to have more doing less. That's a real thing. And it starts with the feeling. It starts with remembering who you are, what you're designed here to do, and the impact that you're here to leave. Because family, your purpose is bigger than you've probably realized yet. But when you know what's in here, when you know that you're here to make a serious difference, make a positive dent in the earth, I promise you, things start to change. Conversations, your energy, right? Your aura, your self-talk. So family, this is my training for you. This is the 7 functions of the mind that all of us, including myself, can go ahead and take in, absorb, and be able to leverage this, right? This is big. You can really take this in. So that's my training for everybody. I hope you guys got a little bit of value. If you got anything from today, drop some threes down below. Smash that like button. And if nobody told you today, I'm proud of you. I'm grateful for you. I appreciate you. And just know you are loved. You are making a difference. And I'm so excited to see you get bold for the month of January, right? This month is all about getting bold. It's all about taking action, because this is a month to be able to go back and look at the decisions that we made that led to the success that we're seeing December 31st as we read this congratulations letter, knowing that it is already done. So family, I love you. I appreciate you. It is your favorite entrepreneur, Define Dreams. Remember, you can be, do, and have anything that you can hold in your mind. You can what? Hold it right here in your hand. The only thing that's left is for time to catch up. I love you, family. Have an abundant day. Let's get to it. You already know it's game time. Dream team. Let's grow.